One of the things which you very often find in settings where people have used terroristic violence to pursue a political goal is that there are other people from within their community, often a larger number in fact, who have pursued the same sort of goal through non-violent means. And one of the fascinating things I think about studying terrorism and also about responding to it in the expert practical ways that all of you do is to think about that relationship between different modes of struggle within the same community pursuing the same kind of goals. Sometimes at the individual level you find that people start in one camp and move over to another, that people begin to pursue their political goal, whatever it is, through non-violent means, find that they become frustrated as they do so and come to the judgment, rightly or wrongly, that the only way of pursuing those goals is in fact through violence rather than through peaceful methods. But the journey can go the other way round as well. People who've pursued change violently can often realise after a significant period of time sometimes that the things they thought they were going to bring about through violence have not been coming forward, and that in fact other methods, perhaps using elections or using peaceful argument or using mass civil resistance, will be more effective. I think this is important in all sorts of different contexts, and we've seen it in recent times in terms of the ways in which people have responded to certain conflicts in countries such as Syria or Libya. Is it the case that violence, even of a terroristic kind, has been legitimate in those contexts? Will the use of violence in some of those places have knock-on effects, as has happened before with other conflicts, where people who were involved in Bosnia or in Afghanistan then transport similar violent methods to what they see as a related struggle elsewhere? Or will the lesson of such conflicts be, in fact, that the violence has made things worse, not better, for those in whose name it's being carried out? One of the things which the literature on terrorism and on other modes of struggle is tending to suggest at the moment is that it's possible that non-violent struggle has proved in the long term both to be more effective than violent struggle at achieving political change, and also that the kind of outcome you get is likely to be a much better one politically, because you'll avoid some of the polarisation that violence necessarily involves. Whether that's a lesson that will be drawn by enough people is up for grabs in the future in each of the different conflicts. What isn't up for debate is this, that as we reflect on those situations where people, possibly with understandable grievances or political desires, want to bring about change, we need to consider the ways in which we think about how we respond to different kinds of activism. Is it better to try and suggest that there's a space for peaceful activism getting noticed, in the hope that that means people won't feel they have to plant a bomb in order to get attention? Do we over-respond when people do plant a bomb in such a way that means that people look at violence and think, well, if I want to get on CNN, if I want to get on the BBC, if I want to get on the front page of the New York Times, what I need to do is not organise a march, but to murder somebody? Does our response to terrorism as governments, as societies, as law enforcement people, as media people, does our response to terrorism sometimes make it look like it's a more effective way of getting publicity or even getting political change than in fact it should be? And I think in all of those ways it's important to reflect on the lines between different kinds of activism. Should we try and encourage non-violent activism in the hope that that will mean that fewer people move down the line to more violent political activity?